Welcome to Halas Hall Report, live every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time and Sunday mornings at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. Live talking Chicago Bears football with Mike the Bear Fan. And your host, Ken Dobb. Also on the panel, we have the football analyst, Woody, who is named for the Woody wrap-up on game days. Next on the panel, we have Bear Down Mike. He is the youngest, but don't be fooled. This guy knows this Bear squad. He can bring a different insight. Halas Hall Report breaks down the Chicago Bears team all year long, from the offseason through the draft. Also, the legend of tailgating, Billy Defense Flores, joins the crew live at 1st and 10 tailgating. You can find him at all home games at Soldiers Field. Also, the Bear Fan, who has been here since the first year of Halas Hall Report. Welcome, Bear Fan Dan, where he is known for studs and duds after every game. You can find them on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Roku if you have a TV. They are all over social media. You won't find no better sources for Chicago Bears news like injury reports, team updates for breaking news for all the good and the bad the team does. Halas Hall Report will be live for the 6th season. And they are teaming up with the best sports podcast out on social media.
This is Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good evening, Bears fans. Good evening, Roku, Facebook, and YouTube. How are we all doing this evening? It's Halas Hall Report, the Saturday night edition. We've got, of course, Woody, Dan, and we got Nate Castro from Lions fan on the show tonight. And, of course, the producer with the most, Mike the Bear Fan. And we got a fun show for you guys tonight on a beautiful Saturday down here in Florida. Much better weather than I had in Chicago last Saturday, that's for sure. And we've got some Bears stuff to talk about, even though there's really been no player movement. There's been some draft talk. Of course, the draft hasn't happened yet. And we got some stuff to talk about. So I'm going to hit this right off, and we're going to go with the very first thing we're going to get to do this year after the draft. Hall of Fame game. Yep, that's right. We have the Hall of Fame game versus the Texans August 1st in Canton, Ohio. Pretty exciting stuff. There's the second one we've had in the last couple of years, Dan. Having the Hall of Fame game, doesn't always happen. Usually it's because you have some Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that we got it, that we're in there. I mean, we got Hester and Mongo and Peppers going in, so not that surprised that we actually got into the game this year.
And of course, Woody, I know you're going to be a big fan of this because you're old school football, but because we get it, that means that we have an extra preseason game. We don't only have 3 games like those chumps in Detroit and Green Bay. No, we get a 4th one, which if we are taking Caleb Williams, I would think that having an extra game, Woody, you would be very happy with that.
Nope. Hate it. Can't stand it. More another game for injuries. So don't like it at all. Nope. Not one fucking bit.
I mean, I don't know, Nate. I mean, we've been watching football a long time, and I don't know. I think the 3 preseason setup is the service. I know Woody's like, oh, it's another chance at injury. But, dude, look at week 1, right?
Yeah, I mean, first off, thank you for having me on the show. I know we're rivals here, but I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, take the Lions, for example. They didn't really play anybody in preseason. They were looking more at the battles of, the other deaf players. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of hit or miss on the preseason.
You better believe it.
Yeah. You just gotta do what you can. And, if your players are vets that have played a lot of football, they don't need no preseason. They're ready to go. It's the young players and the UGFAs that really matter for the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, I like that I like 4 preseason games versus 3 though, because it right? The thing with the preseason, dude, let's look at the starters. Last year, the starters maybe got in 3 games 1 quarter's worth of work, maybe. I mean, so you go to week 1 and no wonder why they look like crap. You wonder why there's a ton of injuries. And then on top of that, when they went to 3, now we, instead of having to make roster cuts from week to week to week, No, you dump them all on the last day. So, I mean, from that aspect, great. It gives those guys an extra opportunity to get a look that were maybe before they got cut. But your starters come into week one. That's why week one feels like a preseason game still. It doesn't feel like week one of an NFL season, even though it's hyped up as such. And we get, all the shows and everything's back. But it's like they're gassed by the third quarter. Big injuries seem to happen every year in week one. So I'm hoping we take the extra preseason game like Caleb. I hope he gets work in all 4 games.
Well, I was actually going to say, I think Tyson Badgett might get a lot of game time because, in my opinion, I would start Tyson Badgett early in the season and then work Caleb into it.
Caleb who?
Woody doesn't like Caleb.
We're getting Jaden Daniels. Sorry.
Yeah,
Make that too. I don't like him either.
That would shock the world.
Yeah, especially with Caleb coming to Halas Hall a couple times, meeting with players, hanging out with Bears players. He was hanging out with Montez Sweat the other day. Yeah, the Bears aren't drafting him.
Nope.
He did give Keenan Allen the cold handshake, in his pro day. That was pretty funny.
No, they bug though. I mean, I get it. His time is preoccupied. But Woody, I mean, you have to admit, having the extra preseason game, whoever, if it's Jaden Daniels or not, he should get work. And I agree that Bagent we'll see a ton of Bagent this preseason.
Yep.
You know that. But I think we probably need to give the rookie quarterback some time early in the extra game that gives them extra snaps, extra reads at the NFL level.
Yeah, we'll probably they probably want to see a little bit of Caleb versus CJ Stroud if they do draft Caleb. But yeah, it's going to be a whole bunch of Badgett and Brent Rippon. So I can't wait to see how Rippon does. Maybe Rippon will win the starting job. Who the fuck knows?
I'd rather see Mark Rippon, but I'd rather have Mark Rippon, but he's too old now.
I don't think we're going to see any Stroud, man. I think they know what they have in Stroud.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to take any chances in Stroud being in that game.
Matt Henry, I want to bring up this comment real quick because Mike Flash, I want to bring it back up real quick. Matt watches the show Monday through Friday, the Ken and Ken morning show. And we talked about this as well with Caleb. There's a reason no one's taken 13 on that Bears roster. Keenan Allen, who's normally wears number what? Yeah,
13.
Didn't take 13. So I think that discussion's long since dead and over. But
I would
you know
be
what?
shocked if it's not Caleb Williams.
Well, not to add to it though, Tyler Scott switched his number because he was currently wearing the number 13.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, so hey, there might be something cooking here. And Woody, you're gonna love what I'm gonna tell you next because your favorite team, the New York Jets, with your all-time favorite quarterback, was on NFL Hard Knocks last year. Well, that same team also played in the Hall of Fame game. So good, Woody. The Bears, this be the sign the Bears are going to be in Hard Knocks this year?
Absolutely. I get to watch it for free. That would be interesting to see the Bears on Hard Knocks, have them talk some shit, hear all the curse words since I don't curse here on the air at all.
Never.
Yeah, I'll be excited to watch it, and I'll watch every episode. There you go.
I'd like to make a comment on the Nate's comment on Badgett. I like Badgett at all, but if we pick Caleb Williams number 1, he is starting. I believe he's going to start
game 1.
Yeah.
I believe so. I believe Poles sticks him in so he could get him possibly a CJ Stroud.
Yeah, put that together.
I don't know. Badgett didn't play bad for y'all. I mean, I was kind of impressed with him in some games,
True, but if you pick out the quarterback or any player at the number 1 position, he's usually starting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the expectation. If you draft a quarterback anywhere between 1 to 10, the expectation of fan bases, let's say it put it that way. Let's be correct.
Yeah.
Fan
Coach
bases
don't give a
will
shit what the
expect that
fans think.
quarterback to be starting. And even if you get a guy at 12, 13, 15, sometimes that fan base is like, well, he needs to start today because he's a first rounder. I mean, when the Packers got Jordan Love, there was a section of Packer fans back then that said, "Oh, all right, bye Rodgers. Love has to start now because we spent a first-round pick on him." And you don't spend a first-round pick on a quarterback and don't play him right away because any other position they automatically start. So, if we pick a quarterback number one, which we probably most likely are, Caleb Williams, he's got to be the day one starter. Now, look, we got another Bears fan who's on a lot, another Mike. A lot of Bear fans named Mike for whatever reason. He seems to think that Tyson's secret Bay agent, man, is the second coming of Tom Brady. And he thinks that Bagent is not only the starter, but the Bears will not even draft a quarterback at number one because Bagent is that good.
And he is smoking like the other mics do.
Yeah,
So
no. As a Lion fan, we'd love to see that happen. Yes. Go for it.
I
All means.
I gotta give some shout out to some of the guys who watch the morning shows and some of the other shows on our NFC North streaming empire that we're building.
Man, me and Nick, I love Nick because my favorite, besides Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. My God, this is why me and Nick have a bromance. I swear to God.
I don't know about Bo Nix.
A Packer fan and a Bear fan walk into a bar. They form a bromance over a quarterback.
Absolutely.
I get Trubisky vibes from Bo Nix, and it's also because they have the number 10. Sorry.
JJ McCarthy. He's your new quarterback in Minnesota. That's how I feel about it.
That's with that tampering shit, which I heard rumors if that's true or not. And I said this last couple weeks is that I think Minnesota is going to go after JJ McCarthy. Seriously.
Well, they already got 2 first-round picks, so I mean they have the ammo to get up.
John, they're signing Tannehill. They're signing Tannehill after the Packers trade Jordan Love to Minnesota for their second first-round pick and a bag of chips.
Let's just do that roulette with all the players going to the north, switching player. Going with the next girl on the line.
Yeah, well, hey, Eddie Jackson's going to Detroit, so enjoy that.
I'll take that.
Hey, Ken, you got the John Dorn music or sound effect?
Oh, would you like to hear the official John Dorn music? We have not heard it in a while.
Can we not mention that guy, please?
We love him here. He's one of our top fans.
Go.
I saw it.
Whenever John Dorn comes up, we sit there with this music, we ponder, what would John Dorn do? Will he ever say anything worth hearing? No. The answer to that.
Yep, there it is. Same old line.
No.
Yep.
Well, when I think it was I think it was a couple weeks ago. I think me and Dan, Mike were on the show. John Dorn, he came up with a lot of good points that it was surprising. Shocking. And then his last comment says the Packers will sweep the North. So then it started getting back to normal again.
Yeah, well, that's every Packer fan, right? Right? They talk some sense. And then they go into like, oh, okay, we're going to win it all. We're going to go to Super Bowl. Okay, shut up. You're done.
So the only bad thing, and we look at the possible teams for Hard Knocks, right? It's the Saints, the Bears, and the Broncos. I don't think a Hard Knocks preseason team has ever made the playoffs since the show started. Mike might know this.
The Hard Knocks first.
But here's the thing, though, that's weird, though. I don't think any team has been in the position that the Bears are currently in coming into a Hard Knock season where they had a 7-win team the year before and basically a roster like what the Bears look like. I think the Jets could have been a playoff team last year. I think most of us do if Rodgers doesn't get hurt. So that would have broken that mold. So I don't want to say it's a kiss of death, but that's the only thing that's bad about Hard Knocks is teams that are on the preseason show or even the in-season show. Look at the Dolphins last year, crashing and burning. Hard Knocks has a weird stigma to it. I don't know if that's going to be a good or bad thing but the Bears are a compelling storyline, right? With the retooling, the weapons we've added this offseason, Caleb coming to town, the number 1 overall pick. I'm sure they're already filming. I'm sure filming started a month ago. They just haven't made the announcement, but I mean, how could it not be the Bears? I mean, it's not going to be. I can't. They just make the most sense there.
Well, out of those 3 teams, I mean, they're the best team out of all 3 of them, and they're probably has the most storylines out of those 3 of them. And Caleb Williams by himself is going to be Showtime TV to watch. And they got some personalities on that team too. So, yeah, I'd be shocked if it's not the Bears.
Did you ask how many teams made the playoffs hosting Hard Knocks? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
7 of 20.
Wow.
Okay. So that's actually a better number than I thought.
We should have made the playoffs that year, but man, it just didn't happen.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We should have swept you last year too. But I mean, hey.
I think this.
It happens.
I think the Saints might be in Hard Knocks because they signed St. Brown, so you never know. Playoff bound.
Well,
There you
hold
go.
on. Remember, the Saints did sign Nathan Peterman, so there you go.
Oh, they got Peterman and EQ. Look out.
I actually want the Saints to be on Hard Knocks just so they could talk shit about Derek Carr so much. I just want to hear it behind the scenes.
Oh, that's Ken's boy. Don't talk shit about him.
Oh, shoot.
No, I just think Carr's been a solid quarterback in his career. He hasn't, burned buildings down.
This is why I'm talking about people smoking during the show. Thanks, Jamez. Appreciate that.
Yeah, throw Jamez's comment back up there. That proves Woody's point. There we go.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Oh God.
He forgot this. He forgot the laughy face.
Yeah,
that's his horny devil face there. I forgot. Okay, gotcha.
Take cars by midseason.
You also got that other sound effect for comments like that too. Remember?
Wow. I have some sense into some of y'all. Y'all need some Jesus.
Thank God we don't get paid by. Hey, thank God we don't get paid by fucking comments, or we'll be fucked.
Shit, who gets paid at all?
Yeah, wait, who gets paid?
Right?
Woody? What are you talking about?
We're just talking football. We're talking shop.
Yeah. Hey, Woody.
Hmm.
We boo you for that.
Yeah, I gotta say, everybody's favorite former president Donald Trump was 10 minutes up the road here in Schnecksville, Pennsylvania today. Thanks for all that fucking traffic that I hit on the way home, douchebag.
And on that wonderful take from Woody, hey guys, we're only 12 days until the draft. Go figure. 12 days.
Wow.
Now, for those of you watching tonight, not only are we 12 days from the draft, we are 12 days from Halas Hall Report and the Frozen Tundra Network from taking over Roku on a Thursday night for a 2-hour draft special right here on Roku, on the Roku you're watching now, and on Facebook and YouTube. The first 2 hours of the draft, we will be live. I will be on there in Colorado. But minus my misfortune of not being able to watch when to Colorado, we will be live, and it's 2 weeks away. So the question becomes, and we've already touched on it, is it Caleb?
No.
All right, Woody, tell me.
Unfortunately,
I'm just like a realistic Bear fan. Like with his ego, I don't want the ego poison locker room already. I mean, I know we all heard about this. He better own half the team before, when he gets on there. Right there should tell you, dude, shut the fuck up, man. And you're lucky to get into the NFL. And with your 3 interceptions in the first half against Notre Dame, you suck. So I don't want that. If we draft him, he does good, I'll say, hey, wow, I was wrong. But I'm talking about now.
Well, Greg Royce, who, by the way, Greg, congratulations on your nuptials and getting married.
Fucked.
He says Greg Royce. Bear fan Dan's like, unfortunately, but Dan, you can't deny it. It's got to be him, doesn't it?
yeah. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be him. I mean, to me, what was it? 2 years ago, he won the Heisman Trophy. Last year, he didn't look like no Heisman Trophy winner. The year, had a bad year, and then you're going to have a guy going to cry on his mom's shoulder every time that he loses.
Oh, they already here. Well, look, we got a rare treat. Tell us what you're thinking coming from that Detroit perspective.
I mean, personally, in my opinion, I mean, he's the best talent that's out there. I mean, take away his antics, take away all his little things outside of football. He's got the most talent at a quarterback position. Now, whether he can put it all together and be a good quarterback remains to be seen. We'll see. I do agree. He won the Heisman. He looked great that year and then kind of looked okay after that year. And you play in the Pac-12. Like, that's not a good sign if you're not dominating that conference. I think he's got a lot to go, but as y'all being Bear fans, I mean, what's the other option? Trade it down again and kick the can on next year on another quarterback. I mean, at some point you got to go with that person and just move on. I mean, I personally thought you should have kept Fields, in my opinion. You put all the weapons around him and Fields, he's progressed and gotten better. He's still got a lot of work to do, but hey, you keep Fields, you got a better line, you got a running backs, you got receivers. If he can't do it with all these weapons, then you know for sure what you don't have something in him. You know what I'm saying?
Nick, I do love you, Nick. Like, it's the bottom of my heart.
Nate, I agree with you on a lot of what you said there. I was on Keep Team Justin. The guy did nothing but show progression every year. But Greg's right. Greg Wright's right. That Trojans team was horrendous. SC was a horrendous football team that without Caleb might win 2 games last year. So you got to take the team around them in consideration. But I agree with you, and I was a big advocate of keeping Justin. And I trust Poles, and Poles is drafted well. In fact, all of us on this show like how Poles is drafted. Like, we really all have a hard time of saying, well, Poles, what were you smoking? Were you over there with Quezzy again? I mean, he drafts well. So I have to give him the benefit of the doubt on the capital he's built with me as a fan for 2 years, that Caleb has blown him away to the point that he had to let Justin go. He doesn't care about the contract situation, all that at this point. He was looking at talent. So, and as far as the painting nails and wearing dresses, really, that's nothing. Have you met Dennis Rodman yet? He has 3 rings playing for the Chicago Bulls. Have you met the Worm? You know what I mean? We don't care about that. Yeah, we had Dennis Rodman. The dude literally married himself. You think we
wearing
care
a wedding dress?
Wearing a wedding dress in New York, right?
Hey, but he was dominant on the court, man. He was not no joke on the court.
Did he paint his fingernails too?
Yeah.
I'm
All right,
sorry.
just want to know.
Oh yeah, he
Do
did.
you know how much
so
money
does
he's
Caleb.
doing that? Just saying, like, if I made $4 or $5 million, I'll marry myself. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why I asked about Rodney, because that's what Caleb does too. And he puts a little lip gloss too, like a lipstick. I'm like, oh my god.
And who was Rodman's little play toy for a while? Carmen Electra.
Yep.
Yeah,
Can't go wrong with that.
I would have painted my
and
nails.
Madonna. And Madonna. Don't forget Madonna. He was.
Well,
he had Madonna before she became what she. I don't know what plastic surgery.
Bring up John Dorn's latest comment. This is what I read up on as well. Is that I know Caleb Williams didn't have a good team around him, but 2-9 versus ranked teams, 25 teams.
Yeah, it's not gonna get cut.
But for the answer to that we bring you the West Coast Stat Master, the one and only, newly married, now cannot do anything unless the wife says so. Greg Rice.
That part. Real quick, Woody, I just want to interject there. So look, Caleb Williams was 6-8 versus ranked teams. The stats on average are pretty good against ranked teams. Look, I know he's getting beat up about his Notre Dame performance and some of his performances against top defenses. But I think one of the things that people are missing out on is, whether it be collegiate or professional, quarterbacks struggle against some of the best defenses in the league. We've seen Aaron Rodgers and his struggle against the Niners in the playoffs. I mean, these are things that just happen, guys. Look, I'll say this unequivocally. So I'm a Bruins fan. I hate the Trojans program. They were a cheating program in the past. But to defend Caleb Williams, I'll just say this. I have not seen a quarterback do some of the things he's done. And I watch the Trojans games just to, cheer them on to lose. but I have not seen a quarterback do the things that Caleb has done since Andrew Luck.
Greg, I agree. I understand what you're saying, but you mentioned something about college defenses. Now we're going to NFL now, and you just mentioned Aaron Rodgers versus the Niners. These are professional team defenses, and we're talking about him struggling against college great defenses. So that's what I'm talking about.
And I'd agree with you there. I'd agree with you there. He does have to step it up against top defense, but I'm just making the comparison that in college as well as in professional sports, even your good, highly touted quarterbacks will struggle. It was just my comp there, Woody. Andrew Luck and his performances with Stafford against Oregon in back-to-back years were pretty crappy, and Andrew Luck retired early, obviously, but I think we can agree that he had a pretty good run, behind a crappy offensive line that the Colts provided him with, So I'm just saying, things to take into consideration. I can say unequivocally, this Trojan team that I watched last year, like I said, I watched them and root for them to lose, but it was a terrible team, you guys. And my team beat the crap out of them. They got their asses handed to them a couple times. Sorry for swearing. But like I said, Caleb, what he does with this ball, you guys, it's eye popping. Like you watch it and you just see it. So if I was a Bears fan, I'd be incredibly excited to have as a Lions fan. If we could trade Goff and trade up a few picks for Caleb Williams, I would pull the trigger. And I'll just leave it at that.
And look at Nate's going, all right, you're maybe a fellow Lions fan.
Hell no.
Look at that's how dedicated Greg is. He's at work in Lions blue today, right? With the sunglasses on the head.
That's how Lions fans. We're blue collar people, man. We're always working.
I've known Greg for a while now, and before we made the trade, he was like imploring me to get on board with trading Fields and go with Caleb. And look, at the end of the day, by the way, Greg, you were right. They traded him for a ham and cheese sandwich. Hold the cheese and the bread. But I mean, Greg makes some valid points, and out of all of us, I don't know anyone else who reads PFF like Greg does. I swear, Greg reads it, has it on audio in his car. He's probably got it at his work desk right now up, and I'm sure he has it on his phone.
I mean, it's the best analytics out there outside of watching the game.
He's scrolling analytics 24/7. That's why he's the West Coast stat master. But I mean,
Greg can't do that. Hey, Greg can't do that no more. That ring will get in the way.
Yeah,
I got to do it on the download, gents.
Yeah, now he's got that wedding ring. I don't know. He's kind of screwed now.
Can I rebuttal Greg for a sec?
Yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So the Andrew Luck comparison.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck was a better thrower in college than Caleb Williams was.
I'll give you that.
Caleb Williams is more of an off-platform type of quarterback. He's more of a Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to run out of the pocket and throw it down the field 70 yards and pray to God they catch it or they don't intercept it.
Yeah.
Andrew Luck had a pro-style mentality right off the bat. We saw that at Stanford. And so the thing is that I agree with you when it comes to talent. We saw Andrew Luck that this dude's going to be good.
Yeah.
With Caleb Williams, we see the potential to be good. However, I'm really concerned about him throwing from the pocket. And in the NFL, you have got to be able to throw from the pocket if you want to be successful. That is why Justin Fields has not that's why Justin Fields is not with y'all now, because he could not throw from the pocket consistently. He cannot read his progressions. He cannot hit his receivers. And that is why he's on another team.
Now, I agree with you there. And look, my thing is with it is the Patrick Mahomes thing. That's such a hard thing to live up to. Like if you're trying to put this guy, I've seen the comps. I've read articles like that is just an unfair comparison. In my opinion, I got Patrick Mahomes already a top 5 quarterback of all time.
But his game is
his game style.
Mahomes.
Yeah,
yes, his game style similar to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
not Patrick Mahomes.
So I'll put it to you like this: the way I see Caleb Williams is his ceiling as being a Josh Allen type quarterback, maybe not quite as physical, but just that play style, which is Patrick Mahomes-ish like. I see his floor as Kyler Murray. Now, his floor could drop a lot more had the Bears not made the offseason moves they did. I like the Bears offseason. You bring in a great scat back and Swift when healthy. Gerald Everett was a safety net for every single quarterback he's played under, including Herbert as of recently. And Keenan Allen. Like Nathan, I was at that game live. You seen what Keenan Allen did to us last year.
Still can ball out, man.
Yeah. This is like Caleb Williams, in my opinion, this might be the best situation. And correct me if I'm wrong, Woody or Ken, this might be the best situation I've seen a Bears quarterback step into, a rookie, I should say.
Yeah.
You guys are really giving whoever it takes, and I'm just assuming it's Williams. I like Jaden Daniels. I do. There's some questions there as well. The guy flopped in Arizona State. You've seen kind of what happened when he doesn't have 2 first-round wide receivers with him when he was at Arizona State. And then Drake May, and I know Bears fans are just like,
Nope.
Another Tar Heel. I get it. After the Mitch experiment, I get it. So I'm just assuming it's Caleb Williams. But you know what? If you're a Bears fan, in my opinion, like the sky's the limit right now. This is such a great time for you guys. Sitting there with the 1st overall and the 9th overall pick, like, wow. That's amazing.
Out, man, because usually you get a second pick.
Wait, Greg, before let's see the ring real quick. Let's see your handcuff. The handcuff, there it is. There it is. Oh, look at him. Oh,
hey, Greg, I want to say congrats to your marriage. Man. I got married a year and a half ago. I'm still making my own decisions, so hopefully you're doing it to a year and a half.
Absolutely. And look, even when my decision making gets taken away, I won't admit it. I'll be a badass on social media. Don't mind me.
But the funny thing it's Caleb. Look at the whole number thing, everything. Greg, this is the best situation a incoming rookie quarterback has ever had in a Chicago Bears uniform. And if you actually look at it, any quarterback since I can remember, because even when we brought Cutler in, there wasn't anything here for Cutler to play with, right? And Cutler had to tough it out with Mike Martz and his 7-step drop where he's going to get hit by step 3 for 2 years before they realized, I guess that doesn't work. Well, really? It took the Bears, 4 or 5 seasons to start getting Cutler weapons. And then finally, by the time they got him all the weapons, the offense was phenomenal. The defense sucked because Urlacher, Briggs, Peanut all retired. So this, as far as an incoming rookie quarterback, I'll take you one step further, Greg. I'll say it's the best situation in total, but in a total team situation that any Bears rookie quarterback has come into. And this team, whether it's Kyle Orton, who I love Kyle Orton, I love Neckbeard, he could guide this team easily to 10 to 12 wins this year with the weapons it has. Caleb, the bar needs to be set, whether it's Caleb, whether it's Drake, just to make Woody happy. Whoever it is, they have to win minimum 10 games or they're a bust this year in a lot of Bears fans' eyes, I think.
What the hell?
That's Ken. My rebuttal to that would be, and Nick brought up a good thing. So look, Andrew Luck and Caleb Williams are 2 totally different types of players. I'm just saying, coming in with the talent and Caleb's kind of unique skill set, him coming in, that's all I'm trying to say. Andrew Luck was, in my opinion, a little bit more polished coming in, but I'm just talking about the added. I don't want to say added, the similar skill set ish. Okay.
His ceiling's through the roof. There's no doubt about that. I agree with you. His ceiling's through the roof. We just don't know how good he's going to be right off the bat. He's got all the weapons around him to be successful.
And my rebuttal to that, Ken, is with the 10 wins. So look, man, if you guys walk out of here with a winning season, even at 9-8, Caleb Williams is, or whoever your quarterback's going to be, I'm sure is going to absolutely shatter your pathetic rookies Bears quarterback records. I'll say that I think Caleb has a chance to shatter your franchise records at quarterback, like off the top. I really feel that way. But yeah, I look at our division, Ken. The Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, who knows? I'm not set there at Sam Darnold. I think that's kind of laughable at this point. But if they're able to get their rookie quarterback in, they like what they see. And the sooner Darnold hits the bench and their rookie quarterback's ready to step in, I think the Vikings are a little bit more serious. I like their offseason. But I just think, saying 10 wins or bust, I feel like it's kind of setting yourself up for failure. If you guys were to go 9-8, you know what I mean? You guys are to go 9-8. I think that's very respectable.
You have a winning record. Shoot for a winning record.
Yeah.
And look at, and I agree. And look at, you're not wrong either. But I look at this division, and Greg, what you were alluding to with this, I think that the Vikings defense took a step back. Why? They lost to Neil Hunter. They also brought in a guy who had 9 sacks last year. Not
Absolutely.
a huge drop off. They still have a very good defense in Minnesota. Sam
Agreed.
Darnold needs to be neckbeard. If he can play Kyle Orton, he can win games there, right? Because their offensive weaponry is really still nice. Their offensive line, Green Bay, we know they can win games. Detroit, we know they can win games. Chicago, the only other thing, Greg, we didn't mention is we upgraded on the O-line at the center position, which was the focal point. The complete, utter breakdown of the offensive line was at the center position because at PFF we're what? Green, amber, green, and in the middle, solid red that was so red it burnt a hole in the screen. Now we replace it with guys who are green, and
you got to protect your franchise.
Yeah. So
if Caleb's your franchise.
So if Caleb's a franchise, it has to be a winning season. But I also think, and some are going to go, whoa, I think this is a division where you can win 10 games and still be in the last place position.
That's possible. Darcy just put up there, Ken, that he thinks this is the strongest division in the NFC. I do too. I like, even though Minnesota's a little shaky quarterback, and like you said, if he's just a decent game manager and doesn't do that Sam Darnold thing in the past where he's just blowing turnovers and actually losing you games, I think the Vikings can compete. I do believe this is the strongest division in the NFC, possibly the NFL. I'll hold back on that though, but I will say the NFC on paper, we're the best. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. It's going to be tough for the Lions to win 12 games again, first place schedule and stuff. So I really do. I'll end it with this. I liked our Lions offseason. I'll give it right now a B. I had us at a B+, pre-Cam Sutton, all the stuff going down. I like the Reader pickup. We took a great run defender, a run defense, and brought in a great run defender. I would have loved, and I've talked to Nathan about it, I would have loved a, kind of a franchise edge player. Would have loved to get my hands on Daniel Hunter. Shout out to him, though, for going home and taking a cheaper deal. But, yeah. So
I don't know, Woody, where are you at with this? I mean, whether it be Caleb, Drake, whoever it is, where do you think the Bears need to be in the win column this year to be a successful season?
Definitely 9 or 10 wins. I mean, even though we won 7 last year, I mean, I don't want to be an 8 and 9 team. Oh, we won 1 more. I'm still thinking that's going to be a losing season for us, and it's going to be a flop, I think. So we need to get 10 or 11, and then I'll be happy.
And Greg, I agree with Woody and here's why. Remember when you and I were having all these conversations about why I thought we should keep Justin in the treasure trove, the embarrassment of riches you could get and trading out of one and keep Justin and all the massive amounts of picks you can get. Well, instead of doing that, we traded Justin. So if you trade Justin, who with nothing on this team has done nothing in a career but progress north, right? If you're going to jettison him when you finally get the tools you need, then you have to do better, significantly better than the last season, or otherwise you look like Nick Green on camera.
Nick,
what up, Nick?
Nick, give a flex. Hey, Nick, flex for me, will you?
I just got done playing basketball.
Gun show, baby.
That's grapefruits.
But Greg, that's why I think Woody's right on that, because you won 7 with Justin, and instead of keeping Justin, who's done nothing but trend up his whole career, is nothing but progress every year statistically, you trade him instead of possibly getting Marvin Harrison in the top 4 plus draft picks, then getting your edge rusher at 9 or whatever, and having even more draft picks. You said, nope, I'm kicking that to the curb. I'm taking Keenan. I'm taking Caleb. And now I've only got 3 more picks and nothing towards next year. So you have to do better.
You do know the win rate is for this year was 10 wins with the Lions at the most, right?
I said they'd be 12.
No, 10 wins is our win rate. Is a win rate for we're the highest behind the Niners and the Chiefs and all that.
But obviously teams win more than their win rate.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, but they're factoring the tougher schedule for us, and they're just thinking that division we're just going to tear each other apart with each game.
That last part's true. The tougher schedule is a 2-game difference. You get the Niners, you get the boys, which probably is good for the boys because Nick is sitting going, give me some Cowboys. But you know what? for them playing the Lions, it's like a revenge game. So for you guys, so I don't know if the strength of schedule I always find to be kind of because whoever's playing the Jets thinking they're getting the worst team in the AFC East, think again, right?
Agreed.
I mean, that's a much better team. So I don't know. It's and then you got Nick over here with Mr. Basketball Guns in the California Sun. Well, no, he's in Nevada. He's probably staring at Utah. I always mess that up.
Oh, he's a skier.
Yeah,
Where
he's a
Jalen Johnson's
skier.
from.
I live right next to Utah State.
So,
Nice.
So Nick, where do you think is success for a Caleb Williams led Bears then?
Well, I kind of want to go off of what Greg was saying real quick. First of all, the NFC North is the best division in the NFC. They had the highest accumulation of wins last year in the NFC for a division. Yeah. We are top notch. But I kind of feel like look, the things you're saying is fine, and it's not like you're wrong or anything. This is all hypothetical at this point, but I feel like Caleb Williams' floor is a lot lower than someone like Kyler Murray. The problem I have with Caleb Williams is his ceiling, like people are saying, is astronomically high, whereas the downside is his floor seems to be possibly Jamarcus Russell. There seems to be a possible mental aspect that goes with Caleb Williams at times. For example, when he plays against Utah every year and he's saying fuck Utah and he's getting crazy about it, and then he has one of his worst games ever again. So his floor seems to actually be a lot lower in my opinion, but his ceiling could be astronomically high. The thing with me, though, is Woody's got the whole Jaden Daniels thing on his tag, right? I think Jaden Daniels is the safest pick of the quarterbacks. I think he's almost a guaranteed good quarterback. I also think he's a mixture of good attributes, whereas Justin Fields was just mainly a great runner. He didn't show that he was a great passer yet. Jaden Daniels has shown that he can be a good runner and a good passer.
True.
So Nick, I do love you, and give me your address. I want to send you a Valentine's card soon.
If you're talking the safest quarterback, I think Michael Penix is the safest quarterback in my opinion.
Good point, Nathan. Good point, Nick.
The guy has been successful everywhere he's gone, and you just throw him into an offense with weapons, and he's going to light you up.
Who?
Michael Penix.
Penix, I believe, is probably the highest probability to be an absolute flop or bust. That guy does not have an NFL arm whatsoever. The types of passes he makes are very college-like, very college-like.
His draft status is dropping. Penix.
Yeah, there's a reason for that because a lot of people are seeing the exact same thing that I'm saying right now, where if you watch the trajectory of his passes, they may be lasers, but if you don't get that ball higher and start to get a little bit of arc or rainbow into your lasers, you're going to throw it right into the defense's hands. This is not college defenses anymore. This is the NFL where everyone
did you
has
see,
a high vertical.
Did you see the playoff? He was throwing darts left and right. And I'm not saying
I also watched the national championship where he was dog shit.
Yeah, it was.
Well, that was against a really good defense.
But but he's going to play against every defense that's really good now. This is the NFL.
So, Nick, and I'm going to be real with you. I think that hurt his draft stock the most. I know he's got an injury history, which already made where he's going to go questionable. I think his performance versus Michigan, there were so many times where that receiver core had those guys, had those corners, had that secondary behind them, or 3 steps to the left, 3 steps right. They were beaten, and Penix just missed the throws. And I was watching, as you know, I'm a Lions fan in here with a bunch of obviously U of M fans, and Penix probably missed 7 or 8 game-changing throws. And when you put on such a poor performance and in such a high-stakes game, there will be that question of, can this guy get it done at the next level, where the stakes are essentially like that every week.
And Greg, I do want to ask you, how did Caleb Williams do in his bowl game?
Are we talking his Heisman year?
No. I don't play in the past here. Last season, how did he do?
Well, Caleb Williams. Look, it was obviously a step back. I mean, I was so stoked when we beat him. Just beating this kid, it felt something special. As Nick brought up, his arrogance against Utah. He got mollywopped his Heisman year both times by Utah. So there is an arrogance.
Utah on his nails. He was supposed to go hype the game.
He does need to learn a little bit of humility, but in his defense, you guys, a lot of these social media posts, and I want to give a shout out to my buddy Hugh, who's put out a bunch of great fake troll posts about Caleb, saying that receivers are not to look him in the eye until he earns their respect. People were actually running with this in Bears groups, you guys. 90% of the social media stuff you guys have seen is absolute bullshit. It was, no offense to the pro Fields camp, a lot of it was put out there by pro Justin Fields fans that just didn't want anything to do with this kid. A lot of it was just troll shit that people wanted just to hate the kid. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Talent. It's never been his talent for me. It's always like, what word are you supposed to use on your show? Shenanigans that he's always pulled into, I guess I'll call it.
Yeah.
I will say this about just the quarterbacks in general, and just in football in general, college football. It's very hard as a scout or even a fan to evaluate a quarterback on a collegiate level. True. Because a lot of those players aren't even going to make the NFL. You're talking about walk-ons. You're talking about 2 to 3-star guys. You're not talking about, you maybe have a handful of really good players in college and defense.
So I just threw up some positives there on Caleb, and we've touched some of them, and then here are some of the negatives which we've also talked about. We haven't talked about this top one. He's only 6'1", which I don't necessarily think
for QBs. That's not only though. That's pretty much like at least average or above. Yeah. Most QBs are not like 6'5". You know what I mean?
Is there a stat there that says he can't beat his rival team? Notre Dame. There?
No,
I don't see that.
The one thing I don't think is a fault, but I like is that he's aggressive to a fault as a playmaker. I mean,
I like that point that they said about him offensively.
Which I think is the opposite of Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields, he's trying to be aggressive in other ways. He puts his head down and runs. He tries to do it by himself. Caleb Williams, he's never looking to run first or when shit gets crazy. He's looking kind of like Aaron Rodgers in a way to throw the ball up because he feels like his arm can get it.
I feel like he's always running. Shoot, he's running backwards. He's running
not across the line of scrimmage, though. He's never looking to pass the line of scrimmage with the ball. He's always looking for his receivers.
That's a good point, Nick. And to be honest with you, this last year, you've seen a lot more, as Nathan was alluding to, a lot more him scrambling in the pocket. Just that Trojans O-line was pretty atrocious, you guys. The Pac-12, we don't really play great defense. We had a couple good defenses in our conference this year, but that O-line just left him hanging. So he was scrambling a lot more. His Heisman year, you guys can see a little bit more of his footwork in the pocket. Now, it's not exactly greatest footwork. He does make a lot of off-balance throws, a lot of off-foot throws. But, yeah.
Well, that's why I say the Bears, if we don't get Jaden Daniels, let's get the Bo Nix, and then we'll call it even, and I'll be really
so, let me do this real quick.
Such a question mark.
Yeah, let me do this real quick. And we already know now what Woody's answer is.
Yep.
If not Caleb, we know who he wants.
Yep.
Nate, if the Bears were to not take Caleb, well, for two parters. One, are they taking Caleb? Two, if they were to not take Caleb, who would they take?
They're going to take Caleb. If they didn't take him, that's a good question. I mean, I would trade down and at least with the Commanders and maybe try to get Marvin Harrison Jr. because Keenan Allen's older and you don't know if you're going to resign him. And you compare him with DJ Moore, and man, you've got two receivers that are fairly young, and they can.
So then, what are you taking a quarterback if you're trading down with the Commanders to take Marvin Harrison Jr., which was what I wanted to do back in the day? Greg can tell that.
So if you trade down, you're going to get more assets. You could get a JJ McCarthy, or you could get you could get even a Drake May. Maybe a Drake May.
Can I
on that real quick.
I like Tyson Bagent. I like Tyson Bagent personally.
Yeah, he's cool.
I'd give him a chance. And you put Marvin Harrison and DJ Moore on both sides. How can you not be successful?
I don't know why you would. This is just me, all right? This is just me. A lot of people are going to disagree with what I'm going to say, but I don't know why you would draft Marvin Harrison Jr. at this point. He's going to get a lot less looks, a lot less receptions, a lot less reps because of the receivers that you already have. I don't necessarily know if that's a great move to trade down to number 2 and get him. I think you trade down completely. You get a shitload of draft stock for next year and this year. You wait for your 9th pick. Look. In my opinion, just like Woody's, I say you draft Bo Nix, and here's why. Bo Nix is nothing like Trubisky. He is everything like – I'm a huge Cal Bears fan when it comes to college football. He is exactly like Jared Goff when he was at Cal. Exactly like him. Jared Goff was horribly inaccurate throwing the ball deep at Cal. Horribly inaccurate.
Yeah, did you see Bo Nix at Auburn? He was terrible too.
He was great. with the middle passes and the short interim passes, which is something that Bo Nix strives with. Bo Nix is also a lot more mobile than Jared Goff ever could be. In fact, you know what? He kind of reminds me more of Alex Smith now that I think about it than he does Jared Goff.
Good call.
I think that you could get a really high value quarterback with the 9th pick that if you sit him behind a veteran, go get Tannehill real quick, sit him behind Tannehill for a year or two, let him learn the game, let him start developing like just Jordan Love did. You don't need Marvin Harrison Jr. right now. There's always going to be other receivers down the line. I mean, I don't know. Dude, you're going to build your defense, your offensive line with all this draft capital this year and next year with that.
But
Well,
you also
I-
don't
I-
have
Dan-
Howard
Dan-
on long
I-
contract.
So
I
Dan,
think-
hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. So Dan, where are you on this? Let's take it to Dan. Dan, what's your take on?
Dan the man.
Is it Caleb? And if not Caleb, who?
It's going to be Caleb. If it's not Caleb, yeah, Woody. Yeah.
Warren just said what I said. That's
It's Jaden Daniels.
See, now here's the thing, too. And look, I get where you and Woody and Nick and the bromance that is coming from. However, I have to disagree based off what Nick said. Nick is like, you're going to get all this draft capital and you're going to build this offense, build this defense. Dude, he built it. He built
I
it.
don't think
They will come.
right now. I
You're
think you got a
telling me
lot
that
of work to do.
look, a lot of work to do at the wide
I
receiving.
do think you have a lot of work to do. Yes.
Okay, you got Keenan Allen, who's coming off a career year.
Only
You've
1
got
year.
DJ Moore, who's coming off a career year. You've got a really good tight end room, a really good running back room. You've got the number 1 defense in the NFL against the run. You've got a
What about
defense.
against the pass?
Hold on. Overall, they're a top 10 defense overall in the league.
They weren't top 10 this year. They weren't. They were like 15th or 14th.
And you increased your pass rushing ability midseason last year with Montez.
They have a good
Sweat,
defense. Let's just say
Great
they have a
pickup.
good defense.
who you just paid a boatload of money to, and you're probably getting another edge in the draft. Nick, I hate to tell you this. It's like Field of Dreams. Poles has built it. Now the wins will come. You're not trying to build 2 years from now. If you're trying to say, Nick, what you're advocating is that the Bears rebuild. Dude,
That's not a rebuild.
Well,
That's not a rebuild. That's
Foles
more
has
retool.
changed up this whole team. We have one player on the roster since 3-4 years ago, and that's our long snapper. Other than that, Foles has totally changed the team.
Yeah, same thing with the Lions.
100%.
But I didn't say
I
he
like the
didn't change the team. I'm saying there's no way that there isn't a whole lot more work to do. I mean, that's
there's work to do for sure, but he's been doing it for the better.
Tannehill is the guy.
Tannehill's a guy that'll get beat up for you, and he doesn't necessarily. He's not a horrible quarterback. He's not the worst quarterback on the planet. It's kind of like having Gardner Minshew. What I'm saying is, don't let Bo Nix get murdered his first year. Let him ride the pine, learn the game for a year, and then put him in. Then you have your guy.
And
Minshew
and what Nick was saying about the wide receiver help. Remember, we only have Keenan Allen for a year.
Exactly. That's why you get Marvin
Defense
Harrison,
extended or
a
not.
cheaper deal, and he's in a 4-year, 5-year contract.
So okay, well, look, we're 12 days from the draft. We're a little bit further from opening day. However, see now as we've got the venerable Nick Green in the house, we have to ask the question. No, Nick, it's not how much do you love Woody and are you flying to his house for a weekend getaway? It's this.
For me, Nick.
What do you think about this right here?
Wow.
Oh, yo me gusto mucho. First of all, it's an away game for us. It's a home game for the Eagles. They already announced it's a home game for them.
Yes.
It's a similar time zone, so I really don't see a huge problem with this. It's not like we're going to London. That's a drastically different compared to being in Brazil, right?
So for the viewer, let me interrupt Nick real quick. I'll give for the viewer at home who doesn't know, Sao Paulo, where they're playing, it's 2 hours ahead of the Central Time Zone, 1 hour ahead of the Eastern Time Zone. It is, in fact, Philly's extra home game, so don't worry, Philly fans. You still got your 8 home games. You just lost your bonus one this year.
Fuck you.
Yeah, and that makes Woody happy, as you can tell. The biggest, it's not going to Europe where you have a big time delay. However, unlike Europe, where if you're flying from Philly, is a 5-hour flight to London, 6 hours to Munich. From Green Bay, It is a 15-hour flight to Brazil.
So the articles I was reading was that they would stay in Southern California for a night and then they would fly to Brazil after that, so that it kind of doesn't create that jet lag that, you know, everybody's like worried about and shit.
No,
so
big travel. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But these guys travel their whole lives playing in the NFL. So, I mean, look, I'm excited about it. There's a lot of fans who are like, oh, I hate when we go to different countries. Why? I think it's exciting. Like, don't you want this to turn global? Don't you want more fans? Don't you want more notoriety around the world? I mean, soccer is so big. It's the biggest sport in the world. And we are so far beneath it. And Americans don't even understand that. So I don't understand why they hate the whole let's go play in different countries thing. I don't get it. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be cool.
You just gave Ken an erection, Nick.
Oh, yeah, the FC Bayern. Yeah.
Bayern Munich.
So look, in comparison to sports like soccer, right, which everybody loves in every country around the world, basketball is globally known. They have teams in different countries. So does baseball. Like, what is the big deal? I don't know why people are so mad about it.
Well, I think some Packer fans might be mad because they're afraid of the paternity suits. They're going to follow your new running back home from Brazil.
Let's be honest. If I'm being honest, there's so many. I'm a Packer fan, right? But there's so many fellow Packer fans that are so misinformed and just don't know what the fuck they're talking about, because they'll say something like, well, if it's going to cost us a home game, dude, they announced that the Eagles were the home team before they even announced the Packers were going. So I don't do your research and then form an opinion.
Which is surprising because when I read that Brazil actually is one of the biggest Packer fans, that shocked the hell out of me.
Yep.
Yeah, it was like
so why aren't they the home team? I don't understand that one.
Yeah, they had a huge following for the Packers. I don't know why. I'm not sure what the Packers ever did.
It's marketing, because, like, I know when I went to Munich to see Bayern, went to the Shrine, right? Went to Annalise Arena. At the Bayern, at the sports stores there, they had 4 NFL teams they had gear for. That was it. They had NFL gear, but only 4 teams. They were marketing the Bears, the Chiefs, because they have an agreement with Bayern, the Colts, and the Packers. So I think part of it is marketing. I don't know how they come up with that data either. Like, are they calling Brazilians saying, so, who's your favorite NFL franchise? But I agree with Nick. It's great for the league. It grows the exposure. Look, at NFL fans also probably need a little bit of an awakening. Like, we think that our players are these big, huge, massive stars. Dude, go to the Bundesliga and they're saying, hold my beer, son. I don't care that you're the highest paid NFL player. You're my water boy, right? Because, dude, we got nothing on the machine that is marketing for soccer in Europe and in Central and South America. I mean, of course, will Neymar make an appearance at the Packers game? That's all people are going to care about, to be honest with you. Is Neymar going to be there? If Neymar is there, the game was a smashing success. If Neymar wasn't there,
Let me make one last point real quick before, because I know we're getting close. People are complaining about how it's going to be on Peacock. Well, I don't want to pay for Peacock. Well, look, how big of an NFL fan are you then? Because you'll find a way to watch it no matter what. Okay, if you're a big NFL fan, it won't matter.
Absolutely, 100%.
Hey Nick, let me plug your show. You might be able to watch it through the Frozen Tundra Network somehow, some way.
We're going to stream it live.
I'm just saying, you might be able to do that, just like some Bears games this year, too, with Mike the Bear fan. But, just go to our page and subscribe. You'll see what we're talking about. And on that very, very disappointing final take, I want to thank Greg, Nate, Woody, everyone who came on today, Dan. I forget Nick. Who cares if I forgot Nick? Until tomorrow morning, peace out. And remember,
Packers suck. One